Hi, everyone, and happy March. Welcome to this month's nutrition presentation from the Healthy You team. It is a very exciting month because this month is actually National Nutrition Month, and the theme for the Healthy You team is all about nutrition. So today we are going to talk all about this month's theme for National Nutrition Month and what all of that means. So before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Kristen Shalata, and I am the registered dietitian for Southern New Hampshire University. I work with Sodexo through Dine SNU and have been with SNU since 2017. I have my bachelor's in science in nutrition from UNH and graduated from there in 2015. And then I did my dietetic internship at UMass Amherst in 2016. Before landing at SNU, I did work in the clinical setting as a dietitian for a little while and also as a personal trainer before kind of letting that certification go and focusing solely on nutrition. I am also a board certified specialist in sports dietetics. So I do specialize very heavily in sports nutrition. I also take a non-diet approach and focus a lot of my time counseling and intuitive eating. I work with those who have disordered eating and eating disorders. So that's a little bit about me. So as I mentioned earlier, this month is National Nutrition Month, which is super exciting. So we are going to talk all about kind of this year's theme, which is focused on celebrating a world of flavor. So each year during March, we celebrate National Nutrition Month, and this is a nutrition education and information campaign sponsored by the by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Basically, it invites everyone to learn about making informed food choices and developing sound eating and physical activity habits. So again, this year's theme for National Nutrition Month is Celebrate a World of Flavors, which embraces global cultures, cuisines, and inclusivity. Enjoying the different flavors of the world is a chance to learn more about your own food culture as well as those that you may be new to. Familiar ingredients can be presented in new ways, and new foods may remind you of things that you already know and love. Or you may also come across ingredients and flavors you've never experienced before. So trying foods and recipes from various cultures is a really great way to incorporate different flavors and healthful ingredients. Many cuisines offer dishes which include foods from each food group, so it is possible to plan meals that are nutritious, well-balanced, and bursting with flavor. So let's dive into all of that. So today we're going to talk about habits that promote healthful eating. You'll learn to explain ways to eat a variety of nutritious foods, and then, of course, describe how to celebrate a world of flavors when planning snacks and meals. So I want to first start out by thinking about, what does healthful eating mean to you? So take a second, maybe pause this recording and really think about what that means specifically to you. I'll share with you all what healthful eating means to me. So like I mentioned before, and if you know me or know my nutrition approach, you may know that I do take a non-diet approach to nutrition. I believe that all foods can fit in a healthful eating pattern and that there is no such thing as good or bad foods. I believe in creating well-balanced meals and incorporating nutrient-dense foods while also prioritizing pleasure and satisfaction from the foods we eat. I believe in always eating enough, eating too much sometimes, and eating too little never. Food is nourishment for the mind, body, and soul. So I probably take a different nutrition approach than a lot of maybe standard dietitians, but you'll learn more about why I think that's so important, while also, of course, still prioritizing really nutrient-dense foods. It's all about having that balance. So now let's talk more about foods that contribute to healthful eating. So foods that contribute to healthful eating, you'll see here, are the 5 food groups. So we have dairy, we have fruits and vegetables, we have grains, and we have meat and protein. So having a good variety of these foods and the recommended amounts from the food groups will make sure that you're getting what you need to meet your body's needs. The foods and beverages that you choose from each group may depend on what's available, where you live, what's in season, your food budget, or just based on the types of foods that you and your family like and know how to prepare. There may also be traditions based on your culture that influence what you eat and drink. So healthful eating isn't limited to one way of eating. And instead, we can really celebrate a world of flavors and not just during National Nutrition Month, but all year. Beyond these foods, I also, as that non-diet dietitian, want to remind you that these foods also contribute to healthful eating. So I have this screenshot from one of my favorite follows on Instagram. Her name is Victoria Garrick. She is a post-collegiate, she was an athlete. She was a D1 volleyball player. And now she really focuses on being a eating disorder and positive body image advocate, and just has a really, really great lens. So I loved this post that she did. She had a picture of herself eating a cookie, and I just thought this was perfect. So I'm going to read it. Why cookies are healthy. A short, persuasive essay written by me while eating a cookie. Sense the pun here. Many people say cookies are unhealthy. They say the same about pizza and bagels and donuts, basically all the delicious foods. It makes people who like cookies feel bad about eating cookies. Many people also say that mental health is just as important as physical health, that maintaining good mental health is important to being happy and healthy. Personally, my mental health is very bad when I'm not allowed to have cookies or other delicious foods. As a result, having cookies is necessary for me to maintain a good mental health, which, as stated before, is an equal part of my overall health. Therefore, I believe cookies are healthy. Like I said, I think that is such a fun and really creative way to help people understand how all foods can fit and why I am so passionate in telling people that you can have your favorite foods, that they do create health, and that health is much more than just your eating and your physical activity. It extends so much more. And if there's that level of restriction and feeling like you can't eat your favorite foods, that has an increased risk of developing an eating disorder. It leads us to that binge restrict cycle. It can lead us to weight cycling, which all have really, really negative outcomes on our health. So remember that all foods fit. Yes, prioritizing nutrient-dense foods is awesome, but also enjoying the foods that taste yummy and nourish your soul is just as important. Again, remember, all foods provide nourishment. The body is not judgmental. It is really factual. So every single food you eat will break down into the chemicals, the molecules that our bodies need, which are glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids and lipids. Every single food breaks down into these in some kind of ratio. So remember, all foods provide nourishment. So let's dive into some more healthful eating tips that you may consider. So first off, eat a variety of nutritious foods. So I think it's really important to include nutrient-dense food groups from all the food groups. And we're going to talk about how I kind of do this with my own nutrition counseling, but really important to get a variety. Trying not to eat the same things all the time. That way you're making sure you're meeting all of your macronutrient and your micronutrient needs from different foods. You can incorporate your favorite cultural foods and traditions within your eating to increase variety. And a great way to kind of break out of the monotonous rut of eating the same thing week after week would be to try a new food or a new recipe each week. It does not need to be complex. It can be simple, but just trying something new to expand your palate, expand your horizons, get some different nutrients can be really helpful to keep things interesting. Planning your meals and snacks. I am a big fan and believer in meal planning. I don't think it needs to be complicated, but I think it can be extremely helpful if you're a busy person, you don't have a lot of time, and you want to have a plan for the week. Yes, I do think that meal planning can work with intuitive eating, but sometimes we have to be a little bit more proactive in order to meet our needs. And if you're someone who has a busy schedule, maybe you have kids, maybe you have other life demands that doesn't allow you to go to the grocery store every single day, think about what sounds good, and have all this time to cook, meal planning is essential. So first off, choose recipes that meet your needs during the week. So make sure that the meals are going to kind of meet that balance. Make sure you're getting protein, you're getting complex carbohydrates, you're getting fruits and vegetables, you're getting healthy fats. Use a grocery list to shop for nutritious foods. So really, I think it's helpful to break down your grocery list into sections based on the store. So within my grocery list, I always break it up into produce, pantry, proteins, refrigerated items and frozen items. That way it's all separated. I can move seamlessly throughout the grocery store. I don't go back and forth all over the place, and it helps me break it up nicely and make sure I'm covering things from every group. Also, breaking up the meal planning process into multiple days, I find really helpful. So I personally will normally on either Friday night or Saturday morning, I will do some recipe searching. I am not the most like creative, magical chef at all. I use recipes 90% of the time when it comes to cooking new meals. I will use a recipe. And so I'll go on different blogs, I'll look at cookbooks and find things that sound exciting to me. I'll create that list one day. And then another day, I'll kind of leave it at that, kind of don't go too crazy, spend like a half an hour to an hour max. Next day, I'll go grocery shopping. Again, an hour max at the grocery store. I personally really enjoy grocery shopping, so sometimes I'll drag it out. I normally hit a couple different grocery stores to meet my needs and my budget. And then if you do need to meal prep, you could even do that on a different day, depending on if you do need to meal prep and kind of have some proteins and grains and maybe roast some vegetables in advance, so it's easier to throw meals together. That can be a really helpful strategy. So what does healthful eating look like? So if you've worked with me or if you've seen my presentations, you're probably familiar with my philosophy of building a balanced meal. So these are screenshots from a handout that I created and use. So typically I'll explain kind of what carbohydrates, proteins, fats, produce, why we need them. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to focus on kind of creating that plate. So you'll see within the plates over here, I have 5 different things that I like to focus on. I want to have protein, want to have carbohydrates, want to have produce, want to have fats, and I also want to focus on creating pleasure at that meal. I think that is often very overlooked and something that really will help with levels of satisfaction and enjoyment, which help you kind of don't think about food all the time. If you're not eating foods that you like and your meals are leaving you wanting more, you're going to keep thinking about it. You're going to keep eating when your body really doesn't need to, which can lead to undesirable outcomes. So you'll see here that there are 3 different plates depending on basically the level of carbohydrates that your body demands. For someone who is more physically active, I tend towards the higher carbohydrate plates, the half a plate or a third a plate. Someone who maybe is not as physically active does not require that increased kind of carbohydrates that a very active person might demand. So we might kind of change that around. However, for some people who are in eating disorder recovery, who have an eating disorder history and find that limiting carbohydrates is triggering, I will adapt and we will use different plates. These are really unique and really individualized. And also understand that your plate does not have to look like this all the time or ever. Like rarely does my plate have like these very distinct different sections. I'm a big person who likes to mix everything together. I like combining all my foods and really just aiming to get carbs, proteins, fats, and produce at your meals, and then incorporating some level of pleasure, I think is a really good first step. So just start by noticing, are there carbohydrates present? Are there proteins present? Is there a fat in this meal? If not, what could I add to make this meal a little bit more nourishing? And again, that pleasure may look really different for everyone. I'm personally someone who loves sweets. I like to finish my meal with some sort of like chocolate typically, or something, or incorporating that into my meal in some way. Other people may do this by incorporating a yummy salad dressing, cheese or bacon, different salty items, different herbs and seasonings can also incorporate this. It really just depends on what you like and what brings you pleasure and satisfaction. So ways to celebrate a world of flavor. So let's talk more about the theme for National Nutrition Month. So planning meals based on recipes from other cultures is a great way to do this. I did link a website here that kind of has a bunch of different cookbooks from different cultures that can be really exciting if you're looking to mix things up and want to try different cuisines. I think that's a great start. You can also try different fruits and vegetables. I think it's helpful to eat what's in season. That way you're getting like a really fresh option. You're forcing yourself to eat different things. So I think that can be helpful. And you can also choose ingredients with different textures and colors for more variety, which is also another really helpful kind of tip. So ways to celebrate a world of flavors. Another way to do this is by varying your breakfast or your first meal of the day. if you're someone who maybe sleeps, you're a night worker and you sleep in and you wake up at noon, that first meal of the day is still breakfast. Your dinner can be at 10 o'clock at night, depending on how late. All of that stuff is totally fine. But some fun ways to kind of mix it up. One option would be to try other types of cooked grains. So instead of having like oatmeal, for example, in the morning, you could try something like congee, which is a Chinese porridge made from rice. It can be served plain or with vegetables and a protein food such as cooked chicken, meat, or fish. Vegetable umpa is an Asian Indian dish, which is another type of hot cereal that can be made with semolina or rice, spiced with ginger and other seasonings. If you're someone who prefers eggs, you could try a Spanish omelet with potatoes and other veggies, topped with a sprinkle of cheese, or fried rice omelet, also known, which is another kind of delicacy from Japan. Eggs can also be prepared with ham and beans and served in a tortilla with salsa. So it's some fun ways to kind of mix it up. For breakfast on the go, you could try making a smoothie with yogurt or buttermilk and different tropical fruits like papaya or mango. Or if you're looking for more of that breakfast sandwich avenue, you could try arepas, which are a type of cornbread that can be stuffed with beans, vegetables, avocados, and cheese. So the options are really endless, and you might have other ideas on ways to incorporate different foods like this from different cuisines into your first meal. Another way is to create flavorful snacks. So an event that I'm actually doing this month during my tabling at different universities is going to be doing homemade popcorn and having different seasoning blends from different countries. So from India, chaat masala. From the Middle East, we're going to do a za'atar spice. Mexico, I'm going to get like a Mexican seasoning blend, and then Italian will be that Italian seasoning blend and Parmesan cheese. And that will kind of encourage people to try some different seasonings, to try those different cultural foods. Another idea could be to incorporate different dips into your snacks. So vegetables or pita and crackers with a dip is a great snack. You're getting that good source of carbohydrates and some either fat or a little bit of protein. So hummus, tzatziki, baba ganoush, dal, guacamole. These are all options that can just kind of help mix things up, get you out of a rut, and really expand your palate. So as you can see, there are many ways to celebrate a world of flavors. And since many cultures offer dishes which feature foods from different food groups, meals can really be planned to incorporate a variety of healthful ingredients. My plate, which is the kind of plate used by the government, is another example of what a plate could look like. Again, they kind of use this for a everyone approach when I think really it should incorporate more and have more flexibility, but it's a great model nonetheless. So this approach to eating is important at every stage of life and can have a positive effect on our health over time. So you can also get personal food group targets by visiting My Plate, which is myplate.gov. And you can do the Get My Plate plan. So if you're looking for a little bit more individualization or curious about, hey, what are my needs maybe, you could try that approach. You could also see a registered dietitian nutritionist, which is what I am. Again, I only work with those who live in New Hampshire and Massachusetts, so based on my licensure. So if you're looking for a dietitian, you can always ask your doctor for a referral. You can find a dietitian who also specializes in your unique needs. So like I said in the beginning, I really specialize in sports nutrition and intuitive eating, making peace with food, disordered eating, and eating disorders. I'm not someone who specializes in diabetes, for example. So if you were looking for a dietitian who specializes in really specific areas, I always think it's important to find someone who can do that for you. You can receive really personalized nutritional information to help meet your specific nutrition goals. So if you're looking for a dietitian, you can always go to eatright.org. You can also feel free to contact me if you're looking for someone specific, and I can always try and help kind of set you up depending on where you live. I'm a part of a bunch of different organizations and listservs. That is a really helpful resource if that's what you're looking for. So finally, as you can see here, we remember that a healthy eating routine is one that really meets your unique needs. There are so many foods and cuisines to consider when you celebrate a world of flavors, in this presentation and National Nutrition Month campaign have featured only a few cultures and examples of foods from them. So for any additional food and nutrition information, you can always go to www.eatright.org, which is again the website for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. They have so many resources. And you can also always feel free to email me. You can call me and follow me on Instagram. You'll see my information is listed here. And that's all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful time celebrating National Nutrition Month. Again, remember, nutrition is just one aspect of your health. There is no need to feel like it is the kind of most important aspect. It is just one. So no pressure. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. And I hope you guys have a wonderful month. Thank you.